So today in GameMaker, I was driving myself a little bit up a wall trying to add fake walls to a game I'm working where if you have a player that touches a specific tile layer that is deemed to be fake, then they will fade out using alpha channel. But as it turns out, for whatever reason in GameMaker, it's really difficult to set the alpha of a tile map in a room, like this room here, for instance. Got a folder here with three different tiles called fake tiles 0 through 1. You can see them here. And I don't have any code set up right now, but ideally the way this would work is I move my player. When I touch one of these tile layers, it would fade out individually. And then when I touch a different one, this one would fade out. And then when I touch a different one, this one would fade out. And there's a tutorial on YouTube by Sean Spalding, which solves this problem, sort of. It's a pretty old video, so using some older stuff in GameMaker. But basically, it was doing this, but it didn't work very well if you had multiple tile layers in the same room, or in the same view at least. Because if you touch one of these tile layers, it would make them all invisible. And that's not really what I want, because I want to be the kind of degenerate that has many different tile layers, many different fake walls that all act individually. So ideally, they'd all work on their own. And this was really difficult to do 3 years ago when that video was made, but now, after bashing my head against the wall a little bit, I found a solution on a way to do this. Cool new stuff in game. I'm gonna show you how to do that. It's pretty similar to the tutorial that Sean made way ago. It's just a little bit different. So some things that I already have. I have this shader here, which you will need. This is a default shader. The only thing that is different is in the fragment shader. I have this line of code here, which adds a uniform float called alpha. And then in my main function, I have this line here, which is just setting the alpha to that value. So not anything super complicated. It's really just setting the transform. So then what we're going to be doing, and the way I should explain how this is going to work, the way that this will work is ideally you'll have a system of naming your tile layers. So if you have a room where you have like three different discrete fake walls, like I have here, you'll want each of them to be named something. It doesn't have to be fake tiles like I have it now, but it needs to be named something, like fake tiles, secret, whatever you want to call it. I have it fake tiles 0, 1, 2. Ideally, you want to have something similar to this so that you can iterate through all and find all of these layers automatically and write up all the code without having to do it manually for every room. So we're going to do that. So all you really need to do to start here is we're going to need to put some code in the room start and step, or some sort of persistent object that exists in every room that's going to have fake tiles. I guess it doesn't need to be persistent, but it needs to be every room, and it needs to be present at the start of the room. So I'm going to start with the room start. What I'm basically going to be doing is I'm going to be finding all of my fake tile layers, and I'm going to be setting some values up, creating some structs, really, which one struct for each of these tile layers will be able to track their own alpha values individually and write some functions that will actually update values automatically. What I'm going to do to start is I'm going to make an array which will store all of my tile layer information. So I'm just going to call that a fake layer list. And we're going to make an array. Other is going what am I calling this? Sure, so there's a not necessary. That's okay, it doesn't matter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get access to the uniform value inside of our shader. I have this called sh alpha, but you whatever you want. course. So there is that. I'm also going to go ahead and set a layer number here. And then we're going to do something that a lot of people are kind of afraid of doing, which is a while true loop. This is normally something you're recommended to not do, but there's really nothing wrong with this as long as you have a break condition that ensures that the loop cannot go infinite. I find that this is really useful to do a lot of the time if I don't necessarily know what the condition is going to be here, or if the condition is very, very conditional that needs to happen inside of the loop. I think this is fine personally. Other people might not. But so first what we're going to do is we're going to get the layer ID from a name. We're going to use this layer num plus the name of the consistent name of our layers to form the name. So the layer name is going to be fake tiles. And if you're not familiar with this string formatting, basically you add curly brackets and a number inside here like this. This value here is going to be replaced with whatever is in this argument. So what this string is going to be equal to is fake tiles 0. And once later on, we're going to do layer num plus plus. So it's going to iterate back over. Now it's going to look for fake tiles 1. Now this will go infinite, but we'll have a break condition, which will be. So now we're going to get the layer ID. Oops. So this is what's going to keep our while loop from going infinite. So we're going to get the layer ID from this layer name, and this will return -1 if it doesn't exist. So if it doesn't exist, we're going to break out. So this means that what this is going to do for us right now is it's going to start at 0. It's going to find fake tiles 0. It's going to increment. It's going to find fake tiles 1. Going to increment. Going to find fake tiles 2. Going to increment. It's not going to find fake tiles 3, so then it's going to break out. So that's safe. And now what we're going to do, we're actually going to jump out of here, and we're going to make a. I'm going to call this fake tile layer data. This is going to be a constructor, and I like to do it this way because it just makes the code more organized. So this is going to take 2 values, layer ID and uniform. And we're going to go ahead and is now going to set fake tile list index to new fake tile layer. Pass in the layer ID and the uniform. So now we're actually going to be storing whatever we put the struct in. That will be useful later. Now let's actually put some stuff in here. So we're going to first just kind of set some our instance variables. So I'll use let me actually put some underscores here. Oops. And then we're going to set a couple other things. We're going to get the tile map ID, which is different from a layer ID, which we can get from the layer ID. And then lastly, we're going to set an alpha value. This can be whatever you want, but I'm going to set the default to 1, which is fully transparent. I want things to be transparent when not touching the player. And then what we're going to do is we're going to assign 2 functions to layer script begin and layer script end. What this does is it lets us assign a script that happens at the beginning this script's render function and then another one at the end of it. So we're going to use the layer ID to pass in, and then we're going to pass in a function. This is something that eluded me for a while. In the documentation, it says that, well, it's called layer script begin, so it implies that you have to use a script function. But you don't have to. You can now use methods. Extremely useful, and it actually makes this possible because now we can actually get access to our variables defined within this fake tile layer data object. So this script begin will run in every draw event if you let it. So you do a you need this to make sure that it only runs in one of the draw events, and then all you need to do all right. So all this is doing now is in the draw event, in every draw event, this fake tile layer will set the shader to alpha shader that we made, and it's going to set the uniform f or float is uniform that we passed into it, and we're going to set the alpha value to. And this is immensely useful because it means that every single individual one of our fake tile layer datas will be setting a different alpha value based on what their alpha value is, which is going to be exceptionally useful. And then the last bit, I'm just going to copy and paste this. You can just add this layer script end. We're passing the layer ID again. We're passing another function. If this shader is not, there's no current shader, then just shader reset. Just a cleanup function to make sure everything is. I'm not a shader expert, so I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about when it comes to shaders, but this works. Okay, and that is all that we need here. Now we have all that set up. Now we need to make sure that our player can actually cause these fake walls to do that. To happen, we need a step event. We're going to need to do a for loop. If you haven't seen this way of writing a for loop before, you can add a comma and put another value in to set the array length, which just is a nice way of simplifying things, kind of, and it also means that you only need to define array length, checking it every. It's a small optimization. It doesn't matter very much, but it kind of feels. So now we're going to go through each of our fake layer data that we create. It should probably be called fake data list, but a little too. So we're going to get our data here. Then we are going to check the current pixel, check a specific pixel that ideally the player is at, and compare that to our tile map ID that we saved. So we can do and it would probably also be a good idea to check if the player exists, just in case you are making a game where the player is destroyed. Okay, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to do a lerp. You can set these values to whatever you want. Again, this part is quite similar to Spalding. we're just setting the alpha. So to summarize what this is doing, we're going through each tile layer, checking to see if the player is touching that tile layer. If they are, then we're going to set the goal alpha for that tile layer to 0, so it will start moving towards 0. And if not, start moving towards 10. This will happen forever. So by default, all of these tile maps will start moving towards 1, unless we say otherwise. And that should, I think, play. Does not work. Figure out why. Big layer. Let's make sure that these are getting created. You know what? Didn't put the controller in the room. That'll do it. Layer. Try it now. Player data not because I was there. Try again. Ah, there we go. Look at that. That's what I want. Of course, if you don't want it to go fully transparent, that's a very fix. You can just set this value 0.4 instead of 0. Go. Beautiful. And of course, if you want to change, the nice thing about this is that you don't need to change any code going forward. All you have to do is every time you want a fake wall, you just add a new layer, put voila. So much easier than having to use. Anyway, I hope this helps someone. This was driving me insane today, and I finished and it worked. And internet. Yeah. Hope this is helpful. Bye.